Why fasting attracts God. 2 things you should never do while fasting. Okay, hear me out. What if I told you that not eating could be one of the most powerful things you ever do? Sounds crazy, right? I mean, we've all been told since we were kids, eat 3 meals a day. Breakfast is the most important meal. Never skip a meal. But what if I told you that some of the greatest minds in history did the exact opposite? From ancient prophets to modern-day entrepreneurs, fasting has been used as a tool for clarity, discipline, and even attracting divine attention. That's right. There's something about fasting that catches God's eye. But here's the catch. Most people do it wrong. In today's video, I'll break down why fasting is so powerful and the 2 biggest mistakes you should never make while fasting. If you want to unlock the true power of fasting, make sure you stick around till the end. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. And hey, if you enjoy deep, eye-opening content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It really helps the channel grow, and I'd love to have you on this journey with me. Imagine this. You're lost in the middle of nowhere. No phone, no food, no way to call for help. The first few hours, you're fine. But then, your stomach starts growling. The hunger kicks in. Your energy drops. Your mind gets foggy. And that's when the real test begins. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Now, here's the crazy part. Some people willingly put themselves through this. Not because they have to. Not because they're on some crazy diet. But because they've discovered something that most of us don't even realize. There's power in going without. Fasting isn't just about skipping meals. It's about rewiring your mind, strengthening your willpower, and, believe it or not, catching God's attention. But here's the kicker. Most people do it all wrong. In this video, we're going to break it all down. Why fasting is so powerful, how it connects you to something bigger than yourself, and the 2 biggest mistakes that could ruin everything. So, stick with me, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you see hunger forever. All right, let's rewind a bit. Have you ever noticed how every powerful figure in history, kings, prophets, warriors, had something in common? They all understood something that most of us today completely ignore: the power of self-control. See, in ancient times, fasting wasn't just about skipping meals. It was a ritual, a way to prepare for battle, to seek divine guidance, to sharpen the mind before making a life-changing decision. The Spartans did it before war. The samurais practiced it to master discipline. Even great thinkers like Socrates and Plato swore by it. And here's where things get really interesting. Fasting isn't just about physical hunger. It's about control. It's about proving to yourself, to the universe, to God, that you are bigger than your desires. Think about it. When was the last time you truly controlled your urges? Not just with food, but in life. How often do we eat not because we're hungry, but because we're bored? How often do we scroll endlessly on our phones? Not because we need to, but because we can't help it. We're trapped in habits we don't even realize we have. In the next part, we'll uncover the 2 biggest mistakes people make when fasting. And trust me, mistake number 2 is something almost everyone falls into. All right, now we're getting to the real deal. You know, fasting has been practiced by warriors, philosophers, and even kings. But more importantly, it's been commanded by God. Almost every major religious tradition includes fasting as a way to grow spiritually. Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they all teach it. But why? Because fasting isn't just about the body, it's about the soul. It's an act of surrender, a way to step back from earthly desires and refocus on something greater. And when done right, it can open doors to clarity, wisdom, and even divine intervention. But here's the problem. Most people completely mess this up. They fast in ways that strip away all the power and meaning behind it. And there are 2 major mistakes that almost everyone makes. Mistake number 1, fasting without purpose. Fasting isn't just skipping meals. If you're just sitting around, watching the clock, waiting for your next meal, guess what? You're not fasting. You're just starving yourself. Throughout history, people fasted for a reason. Moses fasted before receiving the 10 Commandments. Jesus fasted for 40 days before beginning his ministry. In the Bible, Fasting was always paired with something else: prayer, reflection, seeking guidance. If you're fasting just to test your willpower or see if you can do it, you're missing the point. True fasting isn't about proving something to yourself. It's about connecting to something greater than yourself. Mistake number 2, fasting for recognition. This one, it's even worse. And Jesus himself warned about it. In Matthew 6, verses 16 to 18, Jesus said, "When you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces to show others they are fasting. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full." But instead, he told his followers to fast in secret, to make it an act between them and God, not something to show off. Think about that for a second. Why would Jesus say this? Because if you're fasting just so others can see how spiritual you are, congratulations. You've already gotten your reward. But it's not from God, it's from people's approval. And that kind of reward, it fades fast. But when you fast in private, when you truly dedicate yourself to it, not for attention, not for praise, but for a deeper spiritual connection, that's when everything changes. And that brings us to the final and most powerful part of this journey. What actually happens when you fast the right way? What changes in your body, your mind, and most importantly, your spirit? That's what we'll uncover next. What really happens when you fast? So now we know fasting isn't just about skipping meals. It's a tool, a test, a way to align yourself with something greater. But what actually happens when you do it the right way? Science tells us that when you stop eating for a while, something incredible happens inside your body. Your cells start repairing themselves. Your brain releases more dopamine and serotonin, improving focus and mental clarity. Your immune system gets stronger. Your energy shifts from digestion to healing. It's like hitting a reset button on your entire system. But here's the part science can't fully explain. Fasting doesn't just change your body, it changes your spirit. And this is something that prophets, saints, and wise men have known for thousands of years. Throughout history, the most powerful spiritual moments happen in times of fasting. Moses fasted for 40 days before receiving the 10 Commandments. Jesus fasted for 40 days in the wilderness before beginning his ministry. Esther called for a 3-day fast to save her people from destruction. Every time, fasting was linked to divine intervention. It's almost as if fasting opens a direct channel to something higher. When you deny your physical hunger, you amplify your spiritual hunger. You remove distractions. You make space for clarity, wisdom, and, if you're seeking it, God's voice. And that's exactly why fasting is so powerful. It's not about suffering. It's about making room for something greater. But there's still one final question to answer. How do you actually do this the right way? What's the best way to fast for maximum spiritual and physical benefits? That's what we'll break down in the final chapter. So now you know, fasting is way more than just skipping meals. It's an ancient practice, a spiritual discipline, a way to gain clarity, strength, and even divine favor. But here's the thing, if you don't do it right, you might be missing out on everything fasting has to offer. So how do you fast the right way? First, let's break down the 3 most powerful types of fasting used throughout history by prophets, warriors, and seekers of wisdom. 1. The absolute fast for extreme spiritual breakthroughs. This is the most intense type of fasting. No food, no water, nothing. It's what Moses did before receiving the 10 Commandments. It's what Paul did after encountering Jesus. It's a fast of complete surrender, usually done for a short and urgent period. This is not for the faint-hearted. It's meant for deep spiritual battles, when you're seeking a major breakthrough. But be careful, this should only be done under the right conditions and with wisdom. 2. The water fast, the most common and powerful approach. This is what Jesus did during his 40 days in the wilderness. No food, only water. It's tough, but it cleanses your body and sharpens your spirit. After a few days, your hunger fades and something incredible happens. Your body stops craving food and starts craving purpose. This is a perfect way to reset your mind, detox your soul, and deepen your faith. Whether it's 1 day, 3 days, or longer, it's a powerful way to step into fasting the right way. 3. The Daniel fast, a powerful alternative. If going completely without food feels overwhelming, there's another way. The Daniel fast is based on how the prophet Daniel fasted in Babylon, eating only fruits, vegetables, and water, while avoiding rich foods and distractions. This type of fasting teaches discipline. It's not about starving. It's about choosing sacrifice over indulgence. And let me tell you, sometimes the hardest thing is avoiding food. It's learning to say no to the things that control us. By the end of the day, fasting isn't just about what you stop consuming. It's about what you start focusing on. It's not about food. It's about control. It's about taking back power over your own mind, your own body, your own soul. It's about learning that you are stronger than your cravings. Fasting is a reminder that we are not just flesh and bone, we are spirit. And sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come when we strip away the noise, the distractions, the constant need for more, and just listen. So, if you've never fasted before, maybe this is your sign to start. Not just for your body, not just for your health, but for something bigger than yourself. And hey, if this video spoke to you in any way, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I'd love for us to keep exploring these deep, powerful truths together. And trust me, what's coming next, you don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching. Stay strong, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next one.